Have you ever sensed that someone in your life isn't entirely who they appear to be? This could be a friend, colleague, or even a family member, someone whose true nature is eventually revealed. However, the most unsettling aspect isn't the discovery itself, but their awareness of your discovery. Once exposed, manipulative individuals rarely relinquish control. Instead, they adapt, employing more dangerous and sophisticated tactics to maintain their position. This video details 7 key indicators exhibited by such individuals upon realizing their deception has been uncovered. Heed these signs. Their presence should prompt immediate caution. 1. Transforming one's self-image. Understanding the image transformation of a malicious individual. When a malicious person realizes their true nature has been exposed, their initial response is not to admit wrongdoing or face consequences. Instead, they attempt to reshape their image in the eyes of both you and others. Their objective is not merely to salvage their reputation, but also to sow confusion, undermine your judgment, and maintain control. They aim to convince you that your perception is flawed, or even to garner support against you. Methods employed to alter perception. Individuals with malevolent intent often employ specific strategies when their true nature is exposed. These tactics aim to manipulate perceptions and evade accountability. A comprehensive understanding of these methods is crucial for effective self-protection and the safeguarding of relationships. Complete denial of past actions. This involves a categorical rejection of past misdeeds, often accompanied by the fabrication of alternative narratives designed to cast doubt on the victim's memory or credibility. Accusations of wrongdoing are dismissed as misunderstandings or fabrications. For instance, an individual who has been caught gossiping might insist the victim misconstrued their words, while one who has betrayed trust might claim it was a misunderstanding or someone else's fault. The goal is to create reasonable doubt and deflect responsibility. Construction of a new self-narrative. This involves the deliberate creation of a fabricated persona, starkly contrasting with their actual behavior. Individuals known for manipulation and exploitation might suddenly portray themselves as reformed characters, emphasizing their commitment to personal growth and positive change. Similarly, a fraudster exposed for their deceit might adopt the role of a victim, attributing their actions to unfortunate circumstances, a difficult childhood, or other extenuating factors. This strategy relies on the power of narrative to reshape public perception. Redirection of attention. Rather than addressing their own failings, individuals may attempt to shift focus onto others or unrelated issues. This can involve the fabrication of accusations against others to deflect criticism or the dissemination of distracting rumors to obscure their own transgressions. The aim is to create a smokescreen, diverting attention away from their culpability. Victimhood as a strategy for eliciting sympathy. Presenting oneself as a victim is a highly effective method for manipulating empathy and garnering support. Upon discovery of their true nature, individuals may construct a narrative of hardship or distress to evoke compassion. For example, an individual caught in a lie might claim to have been under immense psychological pressure, while someone exposed for malicious gossip might portray themselves as misunderstood or coerced. This tactic exploits the human tendency towards empathy to mitigate judgment. Demonstrative displays of hypocritical morality. This involves the ostentatious performance of virtuous acts, designed to create a stark contrast with past behavior. An individual previously known for selfishness might suddenly engage in highly publicized charitable activities, while a known liar might adopt a persona of unwavering honesty. These actions are not genuine expressions of remorse but calculated attempts to rehabilitate their image and regain trust. The hypocrisy is a key element of this manipulative strategy. Why do they do that? The transformation of a malevolent individual's public image is rarely driven by genuine remorse or a desire for self-improvement. Instead, such alterations are meticulously calculated and serve specific, self-serving agendas. Several key motivations consistently emerge. Firstly, image rehabilitation serves as a potent tool for evading accountability. By cultivating a perception of change, individuals can effectively shield themselves from the consequences of past transgressions, escaping deserved retribution and maintaining a veneer of respectability. Secondly, a revised image allows for continued manipulation and control. A carefully constructed facade of reform can sow doubt and uncertainty in the minds of others, leaving them vulnerable to further exploitation and undermining their ability to discern genuine contrition from calculated deception. Thirdly, the preservation of reputation is paramount. Individuals with a history of harmful actions actively seek to mitigate the damage to their public image, aiming to rehabilitate their standing and avoid social ostracism. This calculated effort to reshape perception is a strategic maneuver to maintain influence and access. Finally, and perhaps most insidiously, a change in image can serve as a strategic precursor to future malevolent actions. The reformed image provides a cloak of legitimacy, allowing for the perpetration of further wrongdoing under the guise of respectability, making detection and prevention significantly more challenging. Therefore, any perceived transformation in the behavior of a demonstrably malevolent individual should be viewed with extreme skepticism and subjected to rigorous scrutiny. Stoicism provides a framework for maintaining composure and rationality when confronted with manipulative individuals. Key principles for avoiding their traps include maintaining objective observation, focus on actions, not words, resisting emotional manipulation, remember that your emotions do not define truth, avoiding unproductive arguments, do not waste energy on futile debates, and recognizing genuine change. True transformation involves accountability and sincere action, not merely superficial alterations in presentation. 2. Evoke a sense of the uncanny. Understanding the phenomenon of unease when encountering an individual of malevolent nature. They will employ various methods to control the situation. A prevalent tactic involves generating a peculiar energy or atmosphere inducing discomfort, anxiety, or confusion in your presence. This sensation might not be immediately apparent, however. Prolonged exposure will reveal a growing tension, apprehension, or even subconscious fear. This constitutes a form of negative energy, intentionally or unintentionally emitted to maintain control and undermine your confidence. Individuals exhibiting malicious intent employ various subtle yet effective methods to cultivate an unsettling atmosphere and project negative energy. These tactics often manifest as subtle tension generation. The mere presence of such individuals can induce discomfort, even without overt hostile actions or words. Their presence creates an unspoken tension, a palpable sense of unease and being scrutinized, while outwardly appearing non-threatening. Their gaze, gestures, and communication styles subtly convey a latent sense of menace. This creates a pervasive feeling of being under surveillance or judged, fostering anxiety and discomfort. Coercive gaze and gestures. Malicious actors may utilize intense, scrutinizing gazes or controlling gestures to induce anxiety. Maintaining a distance while simultaneously employing unwavering eye contact creates a feeling of being watched and monitored. Disapproving glances, sneering expressions, or condescending gestures serve to psychologically overwhelm the target. This calculated use of nonverbal communication is designed to exert power and control. Violation of personal space. Intentional encroachment on personal space is a common tactic used to assert dominance and create a sense of threat. This can involve standing excessively close during conversations, unnecessary physical contact, or an unusually high frequency of appearances in the target's environment without legitimate reason. Such actions undermine the target's sense of security and personal boundaries. Erratic and unpredictable behavior. When their manipulative tactics are perceived, malicious individuals may resort to erratic behavior shifts, oscillating between friendliness and hostility. This inconsistency creates confusion and uncertainty, making it difficult for the target to anticipate their actions or formulate an appropriate response. The deliberate incongruence between words and actions serves to destabilize the target's emotional equilibrium. Gaslighting through language. Conversational manipulation involves the use of sarcastic, condescending, or double-meaning statements designed to subtly undermine the target's self-confidence. Statements such as, "Oh, I didn't think you'd notice that. You seem unusually tense today," or "You're overthinking things," are employed to sow seeds of self-doubt and confusion, even when the target has done nothing wrong. This manipulative tactic aims to erode the target's sense of self-worth and reality. Why do they act this way? Malicious individuals cultivate an unsettling atmosphere and project negative energy to exert psychological control and undermine your mental fortitude. Several key motivations underpin this behavior. To erode your self-confidence. Anxiety and confusion render you more susceptible to manipulation. To induce guilt and insecurity. They aim to sow self-doubt, creating fertile ground for further manipulation. To maintain power dynamics, by subtly instilling a sense of threat. They perpetuate their dominance within the relationship. To force you into a defensive posture, constant scrutiny and pressure compel you to prioritize self-preservation, thereby inhibiting resistance. These manipulative tactics are designed to destabilize your emotional equilibrium, leaving you vulnerable to their influence and control. Understanding these motivations is crucial in recognizing and effectively countering such manipulative behaviors. Responding to negativity according to Stoic philosophy, a practical guide. Stoicism advocates for maintaining composure and emotional resilience in the face of negativity. This requires a proactive and assertive approach, employing several key strategies. Cultivating self-awareness. When encountering negativity, avoid immediate emotional reactivity. Instead, pause and introspect. Ask yourself, why am I experiencing this feeling? Is this a genuine external negativity, or a subjective interpretation? This self-awareness prevents emotional entanglement and manipulation. Objectively assess the situation, separating fact from perception. Is the perceived negativity a deliberate act, or a misinterpretation of someone's behavior? Understanding the source of your emotional response is crucial for effective management. Resisting overreaction. Individuals who project negativity often seek to provoke emotional responses. Maintaining composure disrupts their attempts at manipulation. Control your emotional reactions. Do not allow them to witness your distress. If confronted with aggressive behavior, such as sustained eye contact or overt pressure tactics, respond with confident neutrality, avoiding avoidance which can be interpreted as weakness. This assertive non-reaction undermines their power. Establishing healthy boundaries. If an individual consistently generates negative energy, limit interaction, minimize contact, preventing close proximity or encroachment on personal space. This boundary setting is not about avoidance, but about protecting your emotional well-being. It's a proactive measure to safeguard your mental health. Refuting negative discourse. Dismiss attempts to undermine your self-worth. If subjected to belittling remarks or accusations designed to induce self-doubt, remember the validity of your emotions. Maintain your position. Do not allow others to invalidate your experiences. Recognize that their words are a reflection of their own internal struggles, not a judgment of your character or capabilities. Prioritizing calmness and resolve. Stoic philosophy emphasizes self-control. When confronted with negativity, employ deep breathing techniques to center yourself. Maintain emotional equilibrium, refusing to be swayed. Remind yourself, I cannot control others' actions, but I can control my response. This assertive self-regulation is the cornerstone of Stoic resilience. By focusing on your internal state, you neutralize the external negativity's impact. This proactive approach transforms the challenge into an opportunity for self-mastery. 3. Fabricating falsehoods to conceal prior deceptions. Understanding the vicious cycle of deception. When an individual perpetrates a falsehood and is subsequently exposed, rather than acknowledging their transgression, they often resort to further fabrications to conceal the initial deception. This initiates a vicious cycle of mendacity, characterized by escalating complexity and diminished prospects of extrication. Each subsequent falsehood, far from offering a resolution, serves merely as a temporary reprieve from the inevitable consequences. However, analogous to a spider's web relentlessly expanding, these accumulating deceptions ultimately ensnare and constrict the perpetrator. The inherent instability of this deceptive edifice ensures its eventual collapse, leaving the individual exposed to the full weight of their actions and the ramifications of their dishonesty. The attempt to manage the narrative through further falsehoods only exacerbates the situation, creating a tangled web of deceit that becomes increasingly difficult to unravel. Ultimately, the truth, however inconvenient, invariably prevails, leaving the deceiver vulnerable and their credibility irreparably damaged. Individuals employing deception often utilize sophisticated strategies to conceal their falsehoods and evade detection. These tactics, frequently employed by those with malicious intent, demonstrate a calculated approach to maintaining their fabricated narratives. Several common methods are detailed below. Fabrication of alternative narratives. Upon exposure of a lie, the deceiver may construct an entirely new narrative to replace the original falsehood. This involves manipulating information, altering contexts, and even fabricating false witnesses to support the revised account. For instance, if infidelity is discovered, instead of admitting guilt, the individual might claim the other person was merely a close friend or a client requiring professional consultation, thereby deflecting blame and obscuring the truth. Blame shifting and deflection. When confronted with evidence contradicting their deception, individuals may attempt to shift responsibility onto another party. This serves to divert attention from their own culpability. For example, an individual implicated in financial fraud might blame a colleague or subordinate, claiming they were deceived or acting under superior instructions. This tactic aims to portray themselves as victims of circumstance rather than perpetrators of wrongdoing. Victimhood as a defensive mechanism. Assuming the role of a victim is a common tactic to mitigate the consequences of deception. When confronted with a serious lie, the individual might fabricate a narrative of personal hardship, suggesting they are suffering from psychological distress or experiencing undue pressure from external forces. This strategy seeks to elicit sympathy and deflect accountability. Topic: diversion and strategic deflection. When directly challenged about a lie, the deceiver may attempt to redirect the conversation to an unrelated topic, thereby disrupting the line of questioning and avoiding direct confrontation. For example, if questioned about a specific event, they might immediately raise a past transgression of the questioner, creating a diversion and disrupting the flow of the conversation. Oaths, outrage, and emotional manipulation. Some individuals, when caught in a lie, may feign anger or employ emphatic oaths to bolster their false claims. Statements such as, "I swear on everything I hold dear that I did not do this," are frequently used to create an impression of sincerity and truthfulness. Despite the underlying deception, this manipulative tactic exploits emotional responses to obscure the factual inconsistencies. Why do deceitful individuals persist in lying? Individuals who habitually lie do so not due to forgetfulness, but rather because of specific motivations to maintain their fabrications. Fear of reprisal. They understand that exposure would result in severe consequences, such as reputational damage, loss of power, or social isolation. Therefore, they perpetuate further falsehoods to delay retribution. Reluctance to surrender control. Lies often serve as instruments of manipulation. Admitting the truth would relinquish this control and prevent further exploitation. Self-deception. Some deceitful individuals have lied so extensively that they believe their own fabrications. They no longer distinguish between reality and their invented narratives. Desire for continued manipulation. Successfully convincing others of their lies allows for continued exploitation. Their aim is to instill self-doubt in their victims rather than engender suspicion of themselves. Responding to deception through Stoic principles. Stoicism provides a framework for maintaining composure and intelligently navigating deception without succumbing to emotional reactivity. The following strategies, grounded in Stoic philosophy, offer a robust approach to handling dishonesty. Upholding veracity. When confronted with demonstrable falsehoods, resist the insidious temptation to doubt your own perception. Maintain a steadfast focus on verifiable evidence, resolutely disregarding fabricated narratives. Your commitment to truth should remain unwavering. Avoiding entrapment in argumentation. Deceptive individuals frequently attempt to manipulate their interlocutors into emotionally charged disputes, thereby obscuring the truth and creating confusion. Remain composed. Employing reasoned questioning to expose inconsistencies. Demand concrete evidence to substantiate claims, thereby forcing accountability. Prioritizing actions over assertions. While deceitful individuals may skillfully construct elaborate justifications, their actions invariably betray their true intentions. Observe behavior meticulously. Words alone are insufficient to ascertain veracity. Discrepancies between words and deeds are often telltale signs of deception. Refusal to engage in unproductive attempts at reform. It is futile to attempt to rehabilitate those who persistently choose deception over honesty. Do not expend valuable time and energy on such endeavors. Prioritize self-preservation and maintain a necessary distance to protect your own well-being. Adherence to personal principles. A cornerstone of Stoic philosophy is the unwavering commitment to one's values and principles, irrespective of the actions of others. When confronted with deception, resolutely distance yourself from the dishonesty, refusing to become entangled in its web. Maintaining integrity is paramount. 4. They appear only when it suits their purposes to exploit you. Understanding exploitative behavior. A characteristic of malicious individuals. Individuals with malevolent intentions rarely cultivate genuine relationships. Their interactions are not driven by genuine care or concern, but rather by a calculated pursuit of self-serving objectives. Their presence is contingent upon the perceived utility they can extract from others. Once their exploitative aims are satisfied, or when the perceived benefit diminishes, these individuals abruptly withdraw, demonstrating a complete disregard for the emotional well-being and circumstances of those they have manipulated. A defining characteristic of such individuals is their parasitic approach to relationships. They consistently extract value without reciprocating investment. Careful observation reveals a pattern of contact initiated solely for the purpose of soliciting favors, borrowing money, seeking assistance, or acquiring information. The cessation of their engagement is equally abrupt, occurring the moment the individual's perceived usefulness expires. This transactional approach to human interaction underscores a fundamental lack of empathy and a predatory mindset focused solely on personal gain. Recognizing this pattern is crucial in protecting oneself from exploitation and maintaining healthy, reciprocal relationships. Identifying individuals who exploit relationships. A comprehensive analysis. Several key indicators can help identify individuals who engage in exploitative relationships. These individuals prioritize self-interest, leveraging connections solely for personal gain, and demonstrating a marked lack of reciprocity. Sporadic and self-serving communication. Contact is initiated exclusively when a need arises. Genuine engagement is absent. Responses to proactive communication are often perfunctory, dismissive, or entirely ignored. Conversations are strategically steered towards eliciting assistance or favors, lacking genuine interest in the other person's well-being. For instance, a long-lost acquaintance might suddenly reappear, only to quickly transition the conversation towards requests for professional or financial assistance. Absence in times of need. These individuals are conspicuously absent when support is required. Requests for assistance are met with excuses and evasions. Conversely, they expect unwavering support when their own needs arise, exhibiting a sense of entitlement. For example, a colleague might ignore requests for professional advice during a period of difficulty, yet relentlessly pursue assistance when facing their own challenges. Conditional benevolence. Demonstrations of kindness, friendliness, and concern are entirely contingent upon the perceived benefit to the individual. Once the perceived value diminishes, interaction ceases, and the relationship is summarily discarded. This is exemplified by a colleague who displays excessive friendliness during a collaborative project, only to become distant and unapproachable upon its completion. Emotional manipulation and coercion. Exploitative individuals frequently employ manipulative tactics to induce a sense of obligation. This may involve recounting fabricated hardships, adopting a victim persona, or employing psychological pressure to elicit compliance. Phrases such as, "If you don't help me now, I don't know what I'll do," are commonly used to evoke guilt and manipulate the recipient into providing assistance. For example, an individual might feign distress upon a loan request's rejection, despite a history of failing to reciprocate support. This behavior highlights a pattern of leveraging emotional vulnerability to achieve personal objectives. Recognizing these manipulative tactics is crucial in establishing healthy boundaries and protecting oneself from exploitation. Why do they behave this way? Such individuals fail to cultivate genuine relationships, instead instrumentalizing others to achieve selfish objectives. Several factors contribute to this manipulative behavior. self-interest as the sole motivator. These individuals demonstrate a profound disregard for the intrinsic value of relationships. Focusing solely on personal gain, they view others not as genuine companions, but as exploitable resources to be utilized and discarded as needed. Their interactions are transactional, devoid of genuine emotional investment or reciprocal care. A deficiency of gratitude and authenticity. A marked absence of gratitude and sincerity characterizes their interactions. They feel no obligation to reciprocate kindness or assistance. Acts of generosity are perceived as entitlements, not gestures deserving of acknowledgement or repayment. This lack of reciprocity highlights a fundamental deficit in empathy and consideration for others. Reluctance to invest in long-term relationships. These individuals exhibit a consistent unwillingness to invest the time and effort necessary to cultivate enduring relationships. Their connections are inherently transient, serving only as temporary means to an end. The lack of commitment reflects a self-centered worldview that prioritizes immediate gratification over sustained connection. A predatory and manipulative mindset. Some individuals possess an inherent manipulative disposition, viewing the exploitation of others as acceptable, even expected, behavior. They employ charm, flattery, and feigned emotion to elicit assistance without experiencing remorse or guilt. This calculated manipulation underscores a profound lack of ethical consideration and respect for the autonomy of others. Their actions are driven by a calculated pursuit of personal advantage, regardless of the cost to those they manipulate. Responding to exploitative relationships through self-discipline. When confronted with individuals who appear solely when seeking personal gain, a strategic and composed approach is crucial for self-preservation. Discerning their motives. Prioritize behavioral observation over verbal assurances. Assess whether their interactions demonstrate genuine concern or solely opportunistic engagement. Identify recurring patterns. Consistent contact limited to times of need is a clear indicator of exploitation. Establishing firm boundaries. Not every request for assistance warrants your time and effort. Cultivate the ability to assertively decline requests when exploitation is evident. For instance, if an acquaintance contacts you only to borrow money, politely refuse without succumbing to guilt. Resisting guilt manipulation. Exploitative individuals often leverage guilt to manipulate you into compliance. Remember that you are under no obligation to assist those who offer no reciprocal support. Maintaining distance and prioritizing authentic relationships. Refrain from investing time in relationships characterized by one-sided gain. Focus instead on reciprocal relationships built on mutual respect, care, and support. Avoiding the expectation of change. Individuals accustomed to exploiting others rarely change unless faced with significant consequences. Rather than attempting to reform their behavior, redirect your energy towards more valuable relationships. This assertive approach protects your well-being and fosters healthier interpersonal dynamics. 5. Makes you feel intellectually inferior. Understanding the manipulative behaviors designed to make you feel foolish. Individuals with malicious intent not only manipulate and exploit others but also actively work to diminish your self-worth, fostering self-doubt and increasing your susceptibility to control. A key tactic employed by these individuals is to deliberately make you feel foolish, instilling the belief that you lack intelligence, competence, or the capacity for sound judgment. This calculated undermining of your confidence renders you vulnerable to manipulation and emotional control. Once self-doubt takes root, your decision-making processes become compromised, leaving you susceptible to their influence. This insidious behavior poses a significant threat, impacting not only your psychological well-being but also eroding your self-esteem, potentially leading to a debilitating dependence on the manipulator for validation and approval. The consequences of this manipulative strategy can be far-reaching, affecting personal relationships, professional endeavors, and overall life satisfaction. Recognizing these patterns of behavior is crucial in protecting oneself from exploitation and reclaiming one's autonomy. It is imperative to cultivate self-awareness and develop strategies to counter these manipulative tactics, fostering resilience and maintaining a strong sense of self. Tactics designed to make you feel inferior. Individuals with manipulative tendencies employ various strategies to undermine your self-worth and competence. These tactics are often subtle yet profoundly damaging, leaving their targets feeling inadequate and questioning their abilities. Understanding these methods is crucial for protecting oneself from such emotional manipulation. Derision and contempt for your opinions. When you express thoughts, feelings, or opinions, these individuals respond with disdain or ridicule. They may scoff, mock, or belittle your perspective, creating an environment where you feel intellectually inferior and unworthy of participation. For example, a response such as, "You actually think that? That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard," is designed to invalidate your contribution and silence your voice. Unjust blame and responsibility shifting. When errors occur or plans falter, blame is immediately and unfairly directed towards you, regardless of your actual culpability. This tactic aims to instill guilt, inadequacy, and a sense of incompetence. In a group project setting, for instance, a manipulator might claim, "You should have reminded me. You're utterly useless," despite their own failure to fulfill their responsibilities. Systematic erosion of self-confidence. These individuals consistently undermine your perceived capabilities, highlighting minor mistakes to create a pervasive sense of inadequacy. This constant barrage of negativity fosters self-doubt and the belief that you are incapable of achieving success. Even after a successful presentation, a manipulative individual might comment, "Not bad, but I could have done much better," subtly diminishing your accomplishment. Subtle belittling remarks, insidious comments, disguised as innocuous observations, are frequently employed to subtly demean and undermine. These remarks are designed to make you feel small and foolish without providing an immediate opportunity for rebuttal. Examples include, "Shouldn't you already know this? Everyone understands this. Why don't you?" Or, "No one else does that. Only you think that way." Information control and manipulation of facts. Manipulators withhold crucial information or deliberately provide misinformation to create a sense of confusion and dependence. When confronted, they may feign ignorance, stating, "I assumed everyone knew that." For example, excluding you from an important meeting and then responding to your inquiry with, "Everyone knew about it. Why didn't you?" is a clear example of this tactic. Sarcasm and cynicism as weapons. Sarcastic and cynical remarks are presented as jokes, but their underlying intent is to belittle and demean. If you react, you are labeled as overly sensitive, further reinforcing the manipulator's control and leaving you feeling flawed. Statements such as, "Oh my, you're so good at making a mess of things," or "Haha, you giving advice, that's adorable," are classic examples of this manipulative technique. Recognizing these tactics is the first step towards protecting your self-esteem and establishing healthier relationships. Why do they do this? These actions are not random, rather, they are driven by clear motivations designed to make you feel foolish, to control and manipulate you. When you lack confidence and feel intellectually inadequate, you become more reliant on them for decision-making. They cultivate this dependence to exert long-term control, to reinforce their sense of power. Some individuals require a sense of superiority, and diminishing others is the easiest means to achieve this. Making you feel inferior bolsters their perceived intelligence and power. To discourage resistance, self-doubt renders you less likely to resist manipulation. Their aim is to instill helplessness, preventing you from escaping their influence or defending yourself. Responding to manipulative behavior through Stoicism. Stoicism teaches that self-worth is independent of external validation. Here are strategies for addressing manipulative behavior. Recognize the manipulation. When someone attempts to belittle you, remind yourself that this is a manipulative tactic, not a reflection of your true capabilities. Do not allow their words to define you. Maintain emotional detachment. Manipulators thrive on your emotional reactions. Remain calm and respond with self-assuredness. For example, if confronted with the statement, "You're so clueless," respond with, "That may be your perception, but I am confident in my actions." Focus on facts, not feelings. Do not allow yourself to be undermined. If accused of error, request concrete evidence or a logical explanation. For example, if someone declares, "You never do anything right," counter with, "Can you provide a specific example?" Establish boundaries. If an individual consistently undermines your self-esteem, consider limiting interaction or removing them from your life. Maintaining a toxic relationship out of obligation is unnecessary. 6. Feign ignorance. Understanding the playing dumb tactic. When a malicious individual realizes you've discerned their true nature, they often employ a subtle yet effective tactic: feigning ignorance. This serves several manipulative purposes: to evade accountability for their actions, to sow self-doubt in their target, to buy time to formulate a counter-strategy, and to provoke frustration and impatience. This psychological manipulation is dangerous, as it can leave the victim feeling powerless and questioning their own perceptions. Common tactics of deception. Individuals employing deceptive strategies often utilize several common methods to feign ignorance. These include playing innocent. The deceiver pretends a complete lack of understanding. Despite possessing full knowledge, when confronted, they might respond with, "What? I don't understand," or, "Really? That's news to me." For example, a colleague plagiarizing your work might claim, upon being challenged, "Really? I don't recall that. I assumed the idea was common knowledge," redirecting blame instead of admitting fault. The deceiver shifts responsibility to others or fabricates alternative narratives. They might say, "Why would you think I'm involved?" Or, "There must be a misunderstanding." For instance, someone spreading false rumors might respond, "Oh, who told you that? I know nothing about it. But I think I heard something similar." Repetitive questioning. To confuse and disorient the accuser. The deceiver repeatedly asks questions instead of providing answers, implying the accuser is at fault or overreacting. They might ask, "Why do you think I did that?" Or, "Are you sure you remember correctly?" For example, if confronted about a significant lie, the deceiver might respond with, "Are you certain? Do you have proof? Why would you think I did that?" Feigning hurt. Rather than admitting wrongdoing, the deceiver portrays themselves as the victim, making the accuser feel guilty for their suspicion. They might exclaim, "I can't believe you would think that of me," or, "How could you say that? I thought we were friends." For example, someone caught in an act of infidelity might respond, "How could you doubt me like that? I've always trusted you." Pretending amnesia. The deceiver acts as if they have no memory of the event, even if it was significant. They might say, "I honestly don't remember saying that," or, "I don't recall doing that at all." For example, someone who insulted you might claim, "Oh my, I really don't remember saying that. If I did, it must have been a joke. Why do they act this way?" Individuals employing a strategy of feigned ignorance seek to evade accountability and maintain control. Several key motivations exist. Avoidance of punishment. Acknowledging culpability would expose them to repercussions, therefore, they feign innocence to escape adverse consequences. Self-doubt induction. Persistent denial and professed ignorance sow seeds of doubt, prompting the victim to question their own perceptions. This constitutes a form of gaslighting, designed to erode self-confidence. Time delay. This tactic provides time to formulate a plausible falsehood or devise a new strategy. Feigning ignorance buys time to formulate a response, eliciting emotional responses. The goal is to induce frustration, anger, and a loss of composure in the victim. This emotional volatility allows them to deflect blame, accusing the victim of overreacting. Responding to manipulation. According to Stoic philosophy, Stoicism emphasizes self-control and emotional regulation. Preventing manipulation. Here are assertive strategies for responding to manipulative tactics. Resisting emotional control. Recognize manipulative attempts for what they are. Maintain composure. Avoid impulsive reactions driven by anger or frustration. A controlled response demonstrates strength and prevents the manipulator from achieving their goal of emotional destabilization. Demanding clarity and accountability. Evasive responses such as, "I don't remember," require assertive clarification. Demand specific details. For example, instead of accepting vague denials, insist on a detailed account of events. If you cannot recall the specifics, please recount everything you do remember, however fragmented it may be. This forces the manipulator to confront their dishonesty. Countering gaslighting. Gaslighting is a deliberate attempt to undermine your perception of reality. If you possess verifiable evidence contradicting the manipulator's claims, present it confidently and directly. Documenting key events provides irrefutable proof against their attempts to distort the truth. This proactive approach protects your mental well-being and establishes a clear record of events. Establishing healthy boundaries. Persistent manipulative behavior necessitates establishing firm boundaries. If an individual consistently employs deceptive tactics to control or influence you, limiting or ceasing contact may be necessary. Prioritizing your well-being and mental health requires distancing yourself from individuals who consistently engage in manipulative behavior. This assertive action protects your emotional and psychological health. 7. Attempting to manipulate you. Manipulation is a sophisticated form of psychological control where an individual attempts to influence your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to achieve their own ends without your awareness. Manipulators employ these tactics even when their true nature is suspected. Their objectives include undermining your self-confidence, creating doubt about your perceptions, maintaining control and preventing you from escaping their influence, inducing guilt or fear to ensure continued compliance, preserving their power dynamic and fostering your dependence. Manipulation can be subtle, making detection difficult until its effects are deeply entrenched. Common manipulation tactics. Malicious individuals employ various methods to manipulate others. Here are some prevalent tactics. Gaslighting. Creating self-doubt. Gaslighting is a dangerous form of psychological manipulation where the manipulator makes you question your memory. Perception. Insanity. This is achieved by denying obvious truths. When confronted, they might say, "You're wrong, that never happened," or "You're too sensitive." Constantly altering narratives. They may repeatedly revise or distort facts to confuse you. Fabricating new information. They might introduce false information to disorient you. Example: you clearly remember someone speaking negatively about you, but when confronted, they retort, "I never said that. Are you imagining things?" Countermeasure. Trust your memory. If necessary, document significant events to prevent gaslighting. Guilt tripping. A potent tool for manipulators is inducing guilt to control your actions. This is done by playing the victim. They claim to have sacrificed greatly for you, implying that refusing their requests makes you heartless. Reminding you of past favors. They highlight past kindnesses to pressure you into compliance. Creating a sense of responsibility. They make you believe that their well-being hinges on your assistance. Example: you decline a friend's request for help due to work commitments, and they respond, "I've helped you so many times, and you refuse me. I didn't expect you to be so selfish." Countermeasure. Recognize that you are not obligated to please everyone. A true friend will not manipulate you through guilt. Using charm to control manipulation isn't always overtly negative. Manipulators sometimes employ charm, praise, and flattery to control you. This involves excessive praise to build trust. They flatter you to make you susceptible to manipulation. Creating a false sense of intimacy. They cultivate excessive friendliness, making you feel indebted to them. Making alluring promises. They offer enticing promises to persuade you to act in their favor. Example: a colleague constantly flatters you, then asks you to complete their entire workload. Countermeasure. Be wary of unnatural charm. Ask yourself, what are they trying to gain from me? Using fear to control. Another manipulation tactic is inducing fear to control you. This is achieved by intimidation or psychological threats. They may subtly hint at negative consequences if you disobey. Creating insecurity. They deliberately sow anxiety, making you feel dependent on them for safety. Using social pressure. They may threaten to damage your reputation among others. Example: a friend says, "If you don't help me, I'll tell everyone you're a bad person." Countermeasure. Don't let fear control you. Someone who genuinely cares for you will never use threats to coerce you. Why do they attempt to manipulate you? Manipulators are not driven by random impulses. They have specific motives to maintain absolute control. They seek to retain dominance and will employ various tactics to keep you under their influence. To protect their image. When their manipulative tactics are exposed, they may attempt to control the narrative to safeguard their reputation. To evade accountability, they will deflect blame and manipulate situations to avoid facing the consequences of their actions. Responding to manipulation. According to Stoic philosophy, Stoicism provides a framework for maintaining mental fortitude and resisting manipulation. Effective countermeasures include identifying manipulation. When someone attempts to control you, ask yourself, am I being made to feel guilty, fearful, or uncertain? A positive answer indicates manipulation. Maintaining composure and avoiding emotional reactions. Manipulators seek to provoke emotional responses. Remain calm and respond rationally. Establishing clear boundaries. Refuse to be coerced into unwanted actions. Learn to assertively decline requests without feeling guilty. Avoiding attempts at changing the manipulator. A manipulator will not change unless they choose to. Focus on self-protection and maintaining distance as necessary. Now that you are aware of the telltale signs of malicious individuals upon their realization of detection, the question remains, what is your next course of action? Have you encountered individuals exhibiting such behaviors? How did you respond? Share your experiences in the comments section for the benefit of all. Remember to like, subscribe, and enable notifications to stay updated on future videos covering psychology, Stoic philosophy, and self-protection against negativity. Knowledge empowers you to resist manipulation. Until next time.